The ultimate compliment is to be considered an asset by those who know you. But what exactly does that mean? And how do we get there? I believe that there is a less discussed approach to becoming a person of value, a person who is successful, respected by others, and fulfilled. It's somewhere between the hustle culture and the ease and flow of manifestation. This podcast is designed to be a resource for the ambitious, the relentless, and the rare who are breaking societal norms, going against the grain, and are open to unconventional practices as we study what it takes to be a true asset in every area of life. My hope is that you'll find this podcast unique and like it enough to share it with a friend and maybe even one day join us at one of our in-person events. Enjoy. She's an Asset Nation. What is up? I am back. Back again. Guess who's back? Tell a friend. I'm so excited to be here with you that I'm screaming in your ear. Sorry about that. I took a several month sabbatical. I would say I took a sabbatical for all of 2024, to be honest with you. I've thrown up a few podcast episodes, but the truth is I really took some time off, and I appreciate you being here and listening and coming back and being like, what is Autumn up to now? I appreciate you, your loyalty, and for being interested. Yeah. So let's talk about my year. Let's talk about my sabbatical. And then we're going to talk about what I learned. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what to expect moving forward. You can decide on if you're hanging out with me or not, if it resonates or not. And we can just go from there. How does that sound? So so let me tell you. So in 2023, I had the opportunity to go on tour. It's Autumn's tour, okay? And I got to travel across the country, and I got to train women on the front lines. And I got to train them in emotional resiliency, self-leadership. And I have to tell you, it was one of the most incredible experiences ever to be able to get these women. A lot of it was female cops, but to get these women in these rooms, and I get them there by telling them, which is what I did. I'm going to teach you, resiliency, but being able to bring my unconventional practices in the talks of, universal laws, energy, the laws of attraction, your mindset, what you think about, and just really get to have conversations with them that they're not having, especially professionally, definitely not professionally. Being able to bring that to these women was probably one of the most incredible things I've ever been able to do. And I have to say, it was very impactful. I think definitely for me, and I would like to hope, my students. I can tell you that after what would happen, one of the funniest things that would happen is I would go and I'd give this training, and essentially this training was really about valuing yourself. Okay. And we're going to talk about that today. That's really the topic of today's episode. But I'd get in there and I'd say, listen, like, you need to value yourself. And if you don't value yourself, nobody else will. And I'm teaching them about, like, what you think about is what you bring about, and just all these things. And I will say, almost after, or probably after every single training, I heard of at least one of my students quitting from their agency, either moving to a new one or getting out of law enforcement altogether, because they just realized, number one, life is too short. Number two, I'm not going to get treated like this. And I need to tell you that is profound, because in a world altogether that does not want us as humans to value ourselves, society does not want us to value ourselves, being able to do so is an incredible, life-changing thing. I cannot say it enough. In 2024, that's really been my journey, and I'm continuing on that journey. But I went on this journey of, like, all right, like, I've been been coaching professionally for 9 years. I have done my entire business online up until 2023. I mean, I've done some in-person retreats, been incredible. Shout out to all past retreat alumni. I love you all. I hosted one event in Portland, Maine. It was very successful. It was a blast, had a great time. But other than that, everything really has been virtual. That's how I've ran my whole company. And so I felt like I needed to get to know myself a little more and I needed to explore myself and my passions. And one of those passions is teaching. I love teaching. I love being in person with people. I love feeding off one another's energy and I love being able to see the light bulb come on. And I love at the end of class being able to see the transformation in a person. And it does happen that quick. And so I went and I have done dozens and dozens. I don't know how many, but several classes, foundational situational awareness classes. I've done several speaking opportunities, teaching all sorts of things. A lot of it is resiliency, failing forward. It's my specialty because I'm very unconventional with my approach, which seems to be quite popular. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my students, and I learned a lot about people, what people out there need. And has been empowering. It has been incredible. Um, it's also been fun to go and teach in my zone of genius, which is really combining situational awareness with personal growth. Those things are what I know. And so that has been really, really fun. And so that leads me up to here. Okay. So I took some time off to study. That's what a sabbatical is. I needed to study myself. I needed to study my students. I need to study the principles I was teaching. And I needed to do that to make sure that I am walking my talk and out there and able to with the principles that I teach, I wanted to be able to make sure I had the life experience to back it up, if I'm honest. And so I didn't really feel like I had anything to talk about. So I didn't. And I know a lot of people have been like, Autumn, when you coming back? We want you back. When's this podcast? Like I've got so many DMs and so many of you have been listening to the podcast and re-listening, and I just can't thank you enough. Your support is everything. It means so much. But now I feel like I have things to say. So I'm back. And it could be good, it could be bad, I don't know. I do have a track record for upsetting the norm, upsetting some people, but you know what? That's okay. We're sending love to them because that's their thing, right? That's on them. So today I want to really talk to you about valuing yourself and this idea that that is shoved down our throats constantly, which is devalue yourself. You are not good enough. And if you go online and you just look for 5 seconds, I mean, I love my favorite platform truly is TikTok. I love TikTok because I love the algorithm because I pretty much watch so those of you who don't know me are about to learn a little bit about me, so brace yourself. But one of my favorite pastimes is watching scare pranks, and I love watching people fall down. And I believe me, I have fallen. I could tell you I could share. I have so many cop stories of when I was in law enforcement and I would fall right on my fucking head. So embarrassing and actually hurtful when you're in uniform. But anyways, I am definitely, my family nickname calls me Grace because I am not graceful. And so just want to say I fall all the time. And that's probably why I think it's so funny. And I love the scare pranks. Hilarious. So I get on TikTok and that's my jam. That and horses. I love all of that on TikTok. But if you're not careful, right? And there's still a lot of ads coming up and stuff, but if you're not careful, you can really get on the side of social media where it's all you need to buy this. You need to get this thing. You need to use this skincare product. You need to do this to lose weight. You need to, you need to buy these leggings because your butt doesn't look good enough. And you need to wear hair extensions because your hair's not good enough and you need to all these things. And listen, there's nothing wrong with any of them. Just to be clear, I bought those leggings to make my butt look good. I like them for my butt, like whatever. But again, what I'm getting at is it's the place that we're coming out of when we're buying and doing these things. And it's the place that society is trying to put us in, which is a very disempowered spot. Okay. And the thing is you have to understand there's $1 billion industry and you feeling like shit. There just is. There is $1 billion industry of all of us not feeling good about ourselves. And and so my mission and my question, I got really curious about this because a lot of people always compliment me on, oh wow, Autumn, you're so confident. You're so confident. How are you so confident? Well, here's the thing. I'm confident. I've been confident in the past in some areas, and several other areas I was not confident. It took me, honestly, a long time. I would say in my 30s, I began to actually like myself. It took me to getting into my 30s to actually like myself. And truly, this past year, I really doubled down on that. I doubled down on like, nope, I am not devaluing myself. I am not getting caught up in this whole vibe, this whole TikTokification of like I'm not good enough and devaluing myself. And so I have those tendencies. I think that we all do. I think society wants us to have those tendencies. I think that's what makes us easily manipulatable. And I think that's how we are so easily controlled. Because if you feel on fire, you are going to be out there living your best life. Like you are going to be doing what you're meant to be doing in your soul, in your heart, in your gut. You're going to be out there serving people because at the end of the day, my belief is that we're all here to serve in some way. And you're not going to need all these outside influences. You're not going to need all this help. And I just really believe in becoming self-reliant. I believe in you liking yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that you're perfect. I mean, although we could argue that we are not, there's nothing wrong with us, okay? But we can always get better. Like I'm always trying to get better. I'm completely addicted to personal growth. You can ask anybody who's close to me, ask my husband. He would rather listen to music. I would rather listen to a podcast or an audiobook. If I'm not doing that, I'm reading. If I'm not doing that, I'm yoga, journal, meditating, tapping. I am constantly learning or tuning within. Like that is what I'm doing. I'm very much addicted to that in being better, being trained by somebody else. And so I just want to say, like, I don't think that we don't always try to be like the best versions of ourselves and we're not always trying to grow and expand our mindsets. I think that we should be doing that. I think that's a really great thing to do because it helps us evolve. And I'll tell you, it has made me feel so much better as a human. Whew. But here's the deal. Where are you coming out of? Like, what spot, what place are you coming out of? Are you coming out of the I'm not good enough vibe? See, that vibe has been my vibe for such a long time because what I realized, and I want to teach this to you. I want to take this very special moment as a teaching moment, which we'll have lots of these in the podcast, is when I was younger, I learned, and now I want you to understand when we're children, we don't have the brain, right, that we have as adults, and we can't think through a lot of things. And a lot of times we just think everything's our fault. Well, when I was younger, I learned at a very young age it wasn't safe for me to like myself, right? Because then I would get called cocky and arrogant. And if you know anything about my history, then you would know that I've been in the martial arts since I've been 5 years old. I've been competing since then too. And then once my dojo opened up a sport karate team, I was on the first original sport karate team, so that just became who I was. And I had to battle. I was like in battle because I have that, I call it the Michael Jordan mindset, right? Like I naturally like will want to fucking kill you, not like literally, but the mindset, right? Of that killer instinct. And we all do, just so we're clear. We all do. But what happens, it literally gets like eroded out of us because that's not safe. It's not who we are. So, it's not safe because other people don't want us to be that way. Okay. It is who we are. And for reference, you can read anything about Tim Grover, Michael Jordan's private coach for he was 15 years and he became Kobe Bryant's private coach and he was D Wade's private coach. He's written two books on this, Winning and Relentless, and he has a podcast, I think. I don't know. You can look him up. He talks a lot about this mentality, being relentless. And so when we're little, we have it, and I had it. But what happened was time and time again, everybody was all pissed off that I was arrogant. They felt like I was arrogant because I believed in myself, because I was betting on myself. And this little girl needed that. That's what I wish people understood. That little girl, my little girl, I needed that at 8 years old. I needed that. I suffered with a lot of body image stuff as a young girl. And honestly, throughout my entire life and today, like, um, one of my friends was trying to describe, like, so I'm doing like, I'm just eating really well. And I talked to you all about it. I'm doing this book. It's called The Plan. I've been doing it since April. It's just kind of like this whole foods way of eating. It's a whole foods way of doing life. It's not a diet. I'm not into diets. I've done them all. And but anyways, it's like this whole food way of eating and it's an anti-inflammatory like, and I'll tell you more about it. If you're interested, you need to email us or DM us and myself or my team. And if enough people are interested, I will definitely do a whole podcast episode just on what I'm doing. Very good. But so one of my friends was like, "Holy fuck, God!" I'm like, "You've lost a ton of weight," and really, what it is I've lost a lot of inflammation. But, um, and she's like, "How much do you weigh?" And I told her, and I'm like, "Yeah, and like currently right now, I weigh 170 pounds." And she's like, "Oh my gosh." Like I would think that a 170-pound woman would look so much bigger than you, but you don't even have any fat. And well, I do have fat, but I'm like, yeah, I'm just built different. She's like, "Yeah, you're just a big girl." And that statement telling me that I was a big girl triggered me, even right now. Like I just told you my weight. I just, whatever. And um, being told that I'm a big girl, because I've been told that since I've been young. And I'm going to tell you, I went back and looked at all my photos. I was not a big girl. There was a time I was very depressed in college. I definitely was a bigger girl. You know, whatever. But it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Like none of that matters. What matters was I, that hurt me because of what I experienced in the past. Now, the cool thing is I didn't get mad at her because she didn't mean anything by it. I know what she meant. She literally meant my body frame is bigger than like a petite woman. Yeah, true that. Like I've told you guys, if you've seen me, if you've met me, I'm built like a brick shit house. Like you're not pushing me over. Yeah, that's why I became a police officer. I had the second-degree black belt and I'm just solid. So I'm like, fuck it. Might as well go do something on the streets. I guess I don't know. Um, but I'm telling you that because so I've always struggled. I had a neighbor growing up. She's naturally a size 0, very naturally. She can't gain weight. She tried. She would eat the same shit as me. I'd get bigger and bigger. She'd just stay the same. Like, so, but the 8-year-old me, 10-year-old me told myself a story. It was not safe for me to be confident in myself and believe in myself because everybody got mad at me. And so I guess the teaching moment for you is go back. I want you to go back to a time, and it won't take you long, hopefully, to be able to remember this. And if it does take you a while, that's because it's deep and you've got some healing you've got to do around that, okay? But go back and think of like the first time that you learned it wasn't safe for you to feel confident in yourself and believe in yourself. When was it not safe for you to do that? And recognize that is a whole situation that you developed a story about and that it's not true. It was just a story that you bought into. It's a defense mechanism, right? It was you wanted to belong, you wanted to be liked, you wanted to be loved just like I did. So we did the opposite of like what was cool. Um or what was like we did the opposite of what we wanted to do. And that's really important. Because a lot of times, and I want to highlight this, we are doing the opposite of what we actually want to do. But we're doing that because we think someone's going to get mad at us. People will actually get mad at us. Or there's a voice in our head that we're still listening to that has been there since we've been young. Or we're doing it because of societal expectations. We're not doing what we actually want to do. Case in point, have you ever really wanted to be in a career or do a job and you're just like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Well, why? Because I'm not going to make any money, or it doesn't look good, or maybe like I'll tell you this, a former client of mine, okay? I'll give you this former client of mine, she was a pharmacist and she was miserable. She's making six figures, absolutely miserable. Hated it. Even I believe like through COVID, she was doing some work from home stuff too. Just hated it. Did not light her soul on fire. And what she loved to do, she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and she wanted to raise her babies, and she wanted to have multiple babies, and get them ready for school and really be with them, and it set her soul on fire. And you know what, she was absolutely miserable until she did just that. And the reason she didn't do that sooner was because all these stories in her head was, her mom and dad set her up. They told her that she needed to go be this pharmacist. They told her that was, she was going to be set up for life. And like, and her, I don't think her parents were coming from a bad place at all. I think they're coming from a great place. But the thing is that wasn't what set her soul on fire. And so how many of us are doing that? And so that's another reflection question I want to ask you. Like, where are you not doing what you actually want to be doing simply because somebody or something has indicated to you that you shouldn't be doing that? I know I have fallen into that trap time and time and time and time, and oh my goodness. And that is why it's never done. We're never just like, oh, okay, well, I'm never gonna not listen to myself again. Like we kind of go back and forth, and we get stuck in these loops, and we get stuck in the people pleasing traps and the devaluing ourselves patterns. We all do it. So I think it's really important that you spend some time today and really do some of the reflection, be that inner child work that, we discussed today, and really ask yourself where you're devaluing yourself. In what areas are you? And when I sat down and really, really, like I've been telling you, I have been working through this, and I'm going to tell you the answers really broke my heart. When I realized how much I was devaluing myself and the areas I was devaluing myself for no reason other than I was just somebody else's voice that I was listening to, it wasn't even my own. It caused me to have some major awakenings here and really get on the track of like, all right, I'm going to do what I want to do now. And the last thing I want to say this is life is too short not to do exactly what it is that you want to do. Now, I understand that sometimes we have to do what we have to do to get to a spot where we can do what we want to do. I do understand that. Okay? I understand that for jobs. I mean, listen, there was a time after I got injured being a police officer, and a few years later, and my I went to school full time to get my master's in criminal justice. I finished that, but there was a lull in my income. Because of that, my business went down, and I was focusing on becoming, a adjunct professor and all these things, and I had to go get a job. I was making minimum wage working at a little local like crystal shop, and it taught me so much, but I had to do that in order to be able to continue to coach and to continue to teach and to continue to run this company. And so I had to do what I had to do in order to get to doing what I wanted to do. And I think that's really important too, that don't shame yourself for that. That's just reality. But also simultaneously be checking in and tuning in and not devaluing yourself. And so if you're wondering at this point, okay, Autumn, this is great. Happy that you're back. Love to hear you. Love it. I'm putting words in your mouth. Hope you don't mind. And you're like, all right, Autumn, so like where do we go from here? What can I expect from you? Because let's be clear, Autumn. I don't know. And here's what I want to say. Absolutely. What you can expect from me is more Autumn. Is going to be a lot of situational awareness talk and a lot of personal growth talk. We're going to talk about how to be safe and how to protect yourself. And we're going to talk about personal safety, and we're going to talk about the universe and manifesting and, working with the universe, because I believe the universe has your back. And we're going to talk about inner child stuff and healing. And we're going to talk about all the things. Okay. So basically, again, you want to become more resilient. You want to become the leader of your life. You want to talk about situational awareness and personal growth. I'm your girl. What you need to know about this podcast, I should have said it in the beginning, but here I am saying it at the end. Everything is completely off script. Just so you know, everything. My podcasts have always been off script. In the very beginning, I'd write down titles. I'll have ideas on what I want to come and talk with you about, but the entire thing, interviews and everything I do, nothing is on script. I do not write out questions ahead of time. I have no idea. It's a very intuitively led podcast. I just want you to know that. So when you hear me sit down with somebody, please know I'm off the cuff. And when I make these for you, I have nothing. I don't have a notebook. I don't have anything. I don't know. I'm here giving you what I believe you need to hear. And so if you've made it to this point, what's important is that you needed to hear this episode for a reason. There are no coincidences. If you are listening to this, it was meant for you, because I'm telling you, this is all intuitively done, and you are here. You have arrived. And so what is the message that you needed to hear today? I would love to hear that. So feel free to tag any of my social medias. I'm on Instagram at the Autumn Clifford. We're on Instagram at She's an Asset. I monitor both of them. Come on to TikTok, She's an Asset. Facebook, She's an Asset. Or you can, my personal page until I get filled up is Autumn Clifford Schmidt. Anywhere, Snapchat, come and see me and tag me. Hey, I listened to your podcast and this is what stood out for me. I'd love to hear it. We're also going to be doing a segment. It's going to be called Ask Autumn. And whatever questions that you have, if there's something you want me to teach on, if there's concepts, if there's whatever it is that you want me to riff on, then I want you to also be putting that in the DMs, or you can email. You can email me at autumn@autumnclifford.com, and I will be making podcasts based on that. Eventually, it would be really cool to have like call-ins. I don't know how we'll do it, but how cool would it be for you guys to call me? Or like even, I don't know, like I know Gabby Bernstein used to do like live streams, and you guys could like get on live with me and we could just have conversations, which would be really cool. So I don't know, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do it via Zoom. I don't know. That's what I'd like to do, is I really want to be able to serve. And I know when we have questions and we're going through things, sometimes we just need that one question answered. So that might be an opportunity. We shall see. Again, thank you for being here. I hope that you have learned something in these last 30 minutes. I hope that you're going to take that and you're going to apply it to your life, because I want you to be the best version of you, no matter what. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the She's an Asset podcast. If you wouldn't mind, could you please share this out? The only way we grow and I can get this out to as many people as possible is with your help. So we're kind of in this together. And the good thing is I know you have my back. So I want to say thank you and ask for you to share the show. And if we're not hanging out in the socials, I hope that you'll come and hang out with me. I'm Autumn Clifford pretty much everywhere. Thank you so much. See you next time.